Last night, I got about 1 hour of sleep because I went to San Diego. I wanted to meet with some people, but I decided not to in the end. I ended up talking on the phone though, as I was driving, and then we ended up talking after that with my friend Noah, who's an NF. And it always reminds me whenever I talk to him, whenever I talk to other NFs, but especially him, it's amazing the amount of knowledge that he has, all the things that he knows. Um, all these ideas he has. He's very imaginative, and it's always just it's incredible. It always amazes me when I talk to NFs about stuff. They know much more than I do, especially if I didn't know the quadrant model. Then I definitely know that I wouldn't know as much as these NFs do. They are very intellectual, cerebral, mental people. Um, Very creative mentally. And it never ceases to amaze me. And then once again, we have the Guardians, the SJs. Um, I wanted to say, I wanted to tell you guys about this. I was talking with an SJ who is religious SJ, and she was saying how in heaven, I guess that she heard this from some NF had a vision about heaven and she believed it. And she was saying that according to this vision, and she believes that this is so, that in heaven the walls are made of gold. The walls of the houses are made of gold and they're encrusted with diamonds, like rubies, and it's just she describes that this is what heaven is. It's just marvelous, spectacular, incredible heaven. Um, See, these ideas, these fantasies give people comfort. It's not what the prophets teach. It's, or the quote unquote prophets teach in the Bible, in the stories of the Bible, or in any culture. But it gives people comfort to have these ideas. And this is what she imagined it would be like. And I think that it's pretty interesting that's what she believes. Um, I think that not to be, I don't want to be stereotypical or anything, but I think that it might be a sensory type of thing to really like to think that golden walls and that are diamond encrusted is really cool because you're looking at these walls and you're amazed by the appearance of them. I think that I wouldn't really be too impressed by gold walls with encrusted diamonds. It wouldn't impress me very much. First off, gold isn't very hard, it's malleable, so if you bump into the wall too much or you hit it, you're going to make big dents in it. And it'd probably be overwhelming. You wouldn't really want to be around it for too much. Um, I wouldn't really care too much if someone had a house with, all gold walls. Um, I think that, I don't know. Things like that aren't that awesome to me. But what I'm getting at with this is, I think that people's ideas of like an ideal. Okay, so this is other things that she was saying. She was saying that in heaven, everybody is, and she's an SJ. In heaven, everybody is very organized. They're very clean. She said that people aren't lazy in heaven. Everybody works hard, but things are easy, and there's no hunger, but things are just beautiful like this in heaven. So I think that people's ideas of their ideal world, their heaven, relates to their consciousness. So according to her heaven, I would not be in her heaven because I would probably be late to the meetings that they have, and all the SJs would get annoyed with me, and it wouldn't be fun for them or me. But I like SJs a lot. Like I said, my best friends are SJs. A lot of them. Very loyal. Um, and um, and and they can sense what is true. They don't just believe random stuff usually. I mean, and there's even some truth to what she's saying. If you want to look at it metaphorically, she's thinking heaven is transcendent. I can understand what she's saying with that. She's picturing a transcendent ideal world. Golden walls. That's maybe metaphorical, but okay. But I think probably an artisan's heaven would be different than a guardian's and an idealist's, than a rational's idea of heaven. We have the 4 quadrants, each with a quadrant within it, making 16 quadrants. Then we got the 17th, which is being. Knowing goes to being, not being, ephemerality. Okay. Let's get back to the examples. I forgot to say one that I wanted to mention in biology. We have the 3 cones, the red cone, blue cone, and green cone in our eyes. And we have a rod which sees blacks. It works in the dark. So we have 3 cones in a rod, and these are responsible for all of our vision. So we have the 4. The 3 that are cones and the 4th, which is different, which is a rod, but they're all responsible for all of our vision. So cone, 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 rod. I also like to think of it red, green, and blue, and then there's white or black as the 4th, which is the mixture of red, green, and blue, and these are responsible for all the colors. There's also the 4-color idea that there's only 4 colors that make up every, that's responsible for all colors, but I'm not an expert with all that, so I'm not going to get into it too much. Then we have, I forgot to mention the stages of sleep. So this is another thing that I learned in psychology. First off, there's delta, alpha, beta, and theta waves in your sleep. So we got the 4 waves. But I've had a cough ever since I was a little kid because I have sinus infections a lot. All right. So for the stages of sleep, we got stage 1 sleep. They say it's a stage. I'm reading this off of the Wikipedia. The stage between sleep and wakefulness. The muscles are active and the eyes roll slowly, opening and closing moderately. Then you have stage 2 sleep. So there's 3 non-REM stages, right? And then there's the 4th, which is the REM. So we have the 3 and then the 4th, which is different. Stage 2, you have theta activity. In this stage, it gradually becomes harder to awaken the sleeper. In this stage, the alpha waves of the previous stages are interrupted by abrupt activity called sleep spindles and K complexes. So we have 2 distinct stages of sleep. Then we have stage 3, formerly divided into stages 3 and 4, right? It was formerly divided into stages 3 and 4. There used to be 4 stages of sleep, and then the 5th was REM. But remember, the 4th always seems to not belong. It doesn't seem to fit. So they said, there is actually no 4th stage. The 4th is just REM. So we see the same type of pattern, but it's just called slow wave sleep. Which is caused by the preoptic area that consists of delta activity, high amplitude waves, at least 3.5 hertz. The sleeper is less responsive to the environment. Many environmental stimuli no longer produce any reactions. The interesting thing about this stage, though, is this is the stage when people tend to have nightmares and they tend to sleepwalk in stage 3. Remember, stage 3, the 3rd quadrant, this is the doing quadrant, the part where it's also seen as bad. So you have these sleep terrors in this stage of sleep. The 3rd is always seen as bad, and you see activity, doing, in the 3rd stage. And then you have stage 4, which is REM sleep, and it's called rapid eye movement sleep. They call it paradoxical sleep. What happens is your body is paralyzed and your eyes are moving a lot, but your brain is working a lot. So your body's paralyzed, like I said when I was talking about dreaming, but your brain is thinking. It's having there's emotions going on in your dreams. You're doing all this stuff in your head, but your body is paralyzed. So we have the same type of quadrant within this quadrant model. You have you go from in your sleep. You go from stage 1, 2, 3. Then you go to REM, and then you go back to stage 3, then to 2 to 1, and so there's a cycle of this, and then it goes back to 1, 2, and then it goes back to 2, 3, and then it goes back to REM, and it goes back, and then it goes 2, 3, REM, and it goes back to 3, 2, and this happens 4 times usually when you're asleep. You go through 4 cycles. Sometimes you also go through a 5th cycle, but it's either 4 or 5. Once again, we have the quadrant. And like I said, there's way more stuff that fits the quadrant because I've been going to classes all day long for the last few years, written down pretty much every class stuff that it's all based on the quadrant. So let's talk more about psychology a little bit. Well, I do want to talk about also the different glands that you have.